Okay guys, in our first episode of SFX Animated, I want to do a review on a series that I've been meaning to write a review on for quite a while. If you read a few of my other pieces, then you know I've been trying to get out a review for Vandread for a little bit. And so here we go. The series is created by Japanese anime studio Gonzo and Media Animation Studios, and then it was licensed in America by the animation distribution company Funimation. That will only happen after the original American distributor, Pioneer, which became Geneon sometime later on in his life, it went under. It's pretty complicated lore, but again, it's not really that important, so don't worry about it. This series takes place in a completely different galaxy, an unidentified future. In this galaxy, humans have expanded out from the planet, forming colonies to the solar system. And in one particular system, men and women are separated completely, creating two societies that have grown to hate and fear the other. The primary cast of the series springs from the two separate worlds. It's the male planet of Tarok and the female planet of Majere, which at this point in the story they've regressed to the point where the only knowledge that the societies really have of each other are like fictitious propaganda and ghost stories that they've devised essentially to keep themselves separate. And if you look at here, I have a video. It's from essentially the first episode of the anime, and it shows off just from the male perspective how they see women, and you can see them as like horrible demonic creatures. They're like monsters, and it's essentially brought up to rally the men to war against them. It's really funny though, so you should take a look.
They have plundered our city. They have cruelly oppressed our people with forced labor, and that unspeakable horror is about to strike our empire once again. This is the shape of our most bloodthirsty enemy, the symbol of our sacrifice. Even those who are fortunate enough to survive are left horribly scarred after their encounters with women. But the time has finally come to erase the memories of those unbearable years of humiliation and degradation.
Okay, the main character of the show is a male from the planet Tarok, known as Hibiki Tokai. On Tarok, he's hierarchically designated as a third-class citizen, and over the course of the series he constantly questions his reasons for being, his motives, and ultimately where he's going in life. This ultimately leads him to stow away upon a male ship that's being deployed to combat the female threat. However, when the ship is attacked by a group of female pirates, Hibiki and two other males aboard the ship are taken prisoner and locked away in the cells. However, as events unfold, it becomes apparent that despite the differences the men and women have, they ultimately need each other to ensure their own survival. And so, as the series goes on, they start to integrate more into the crew until the point where they become essentially friends. Aside from Hibiki, several of the women also maintain pretty important roles throughout the series. The primary heroine, which would be Dita, she serves as somewhat of a comic relief character. She attempts to form some sort of relationship with Hibiki, whom she calls Mr. Alien. She, over the course of the series, is very open to her feelings and attempts to coerce Hibiki into relaying some sort of meaningful connection in the same way. But being from a world where male bravado stands above all else, most of her attempts end with him running away or avoiding her advances.
See ya!
Hey, wait a second! I want to take a picture!
Another of the primary female characters is Maya, and she's the captain of what they call the Dread Team. Dreads are the one-man female crafts used in outer space combat. The male counterparts are known as Vanguards. Maya is a strong female character with a strong individualist personality, much like Hibiki, but as the series progresses, her mood begins to lighten, and ultimately, she really opens up as a character, and you really get a lot more development out of her.
Make sure you come back.
Right!
For the most part, the series falls into that giant robot genre, where all, or at least the majority of fights take place in giant mechs or ships out somewhere in the galaxy or on a planet or whatever. As I explained before, the female fighters are known as Dreads. They're swift aircraft, they're very maneuverable, generally layered with additional armor or guns. On the male side, we have the Vanguards, which are large humanoid mechs, more akin to giant robots. So if you look at these, they have arms, heads, legs, stuff like that. And they're built to be more sturdy than Dreads, but they're remarkably slower. But they're capable of like grappling and hand-to-hand combat. The main twist is that Hibiki's Vanguard and the three primary Dreads in the series, which are controlled by Dita, Maya, and another female from the crew. Her name is Jora. It's like these three are able to combine to create a greater weapons known as the titular Vandread. And just even though it's like the name is never actually mentioned in the series, which is weird. Though in the end, the series is a fun mix of drama, comedy, and action. It really keeps the pace pretty steady. So I mean, you're not dragging along as you're watching it. It's pretty interesting. There's a heavy concept of foreshadowing throughout the series, but it's not all that evident, but at the same time it serves to accentuate the conflict in the series in some pretty interesting ways. So I mean, if you pay attention, you'll see a lot of things that are pretty cool. One thing that really stands out to older audiences, there are many small elements in the series. They make blatant stabs to sexuality. I mean, it's rather innocent to a degree, but it's fun to laugh at when the moments arise. The characters themselves, overall it's a great series. It survives several rewatches without really grinding on the nerves. It's a tale of finding oneself, of young love and struggles against society, of overcoming obstacles and being great, of finding how men and women should behave around one another. It's unique, and like I say, it's really interesting. It's really going to hold your attention. Though I do have a question for anyone who out there who may have seen the series or intends to watch it. Just keep an eye out. And that's, does sexual instinct ingrained in people really have the potential to deteriorate in just 1 century of separation? I know it's a weird question, but there's 3 men on a ship of about 200 women. You do the math. Anyway, guys, that concludes our first episode of SFX Animated. I hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you next week. Thanks, and SFX 360's Gun Ace signing out.